So let's bring it back to Iran. You've done an excellent job providing the context, like politically how we got here, and then in terms of like exposing Jewish supremacists and their uh, their biblical narrative that they have used to essentially control the minds of not only the politicians but
Selective biblical narrative, yeah.
yeah,
So
a selective biblical narrative, and people have talked about how Judeo-Christian values. This wasn't even a term, less than 100 years ago. Like
oh,
it's been
that's Schofield all the way. There's
yeah,
Judeo-Christian is an oxymoron because the values of Christ, which is really only in 4 books of the whole Old Testament or whole New Testament, is not in the Old Testament at all. It's just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Matthew's just retelling Mark. So it's really just Matthew, Mark, and then Luke and John. And Luke is kind of the same. So it's really just Luke and John. But whatever. That's the words of Christ. And that character is saying, love thy neighbor as thyself, and preaches charity, forgiveness, and love. That is the polar opposite of what's in the Old Testament. Truth is that, the founder of Israel, Jacob, is a serial liar because they don't think lying is wrong. They think it's cunning. As long as you get away with it, it's okay. And according to the Talmud, Christ is in hell boiling in semen and shit. That's what they thought of him. The Pharisees had him killed. And it wasn't because of what's in the modern day Bible. The first cult of Nicaea removed the most prominent books, Philip and Thomas and Judah and the other books that used to be in the, like, say, the Marcion Bible, the first Bible ever made. They got rid of them. And in there is the message that Jesus gave that got him killed. Because saying love people and be nice and forgive, that's not going to get you killed. What did he say that was such a threat to the power at the time that they strung him up on a cross and tortured him to death? And what he had done is he was undermining the benefactor class of the Pharisees, is saying this priestly class and these kings that are acting as a middleman between you and God, you don't need them. You can have it. Everyone has the divine spark. You have a direct relationship with God. He was making a religion that got rid of the political body that had grafted itself on to theology as a means of controlling the masses and upholding their own authority through the divine right of kings, which you can separate, like sultans, whatever you want to call them. He undermined that whole thing. So they wanted to torture him to death, and they got rid of him fast. Then they got rid of his word. The modern Bible that they call Judeo-Christian has been Schofielded from the Schofield family, also involved in sexual blackmail, where you have this dispensationalist interpretation of Christianity and the fundamentalists, which I call fund a mental illness, of they take the allegories and stories literally, like Noah's Ark literally happened. Like you'd have to be brain dead to not to think of these stories as like actual historical events rather than conveying a point to you. It's, oh yeah, that happened. A guy lived in a whale's belly for 3 days, and then Jonah made the sun stand still, and da 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 da. Mythologies are vehicles for cultural values. They're not supposed to, like, if I tell you the story of the 3 little pigs, the point of that story is that hard work pays off and being lazy gets your house destroyed. Like the wolf, destroys the first two houses of straw and sticks, but not bricks, because he put the time in, he put the work in, it paid off. You're not supposed to think there's actually talking pigs or a wolf with hurricane powers, And so when you get these biblical stories, like, this is a parable, you stupid fuck. Like, nobody thinks this happened literally, but the dispensationalists do. They like, yep, and then this happened. Like, the Tower of Babel reached all the way to heaven. Like, they literally were building a big tower. Like, that's not what that story is. Same thing with Revelations, when they're talking about the mark of the beast and all that. Do you know what that is? They're talking about coins. They're talking about Roman coins. Yeah. So these images on the coins of these dragons and stuff like that, that's all that is. It's talking about the mark of buying and selling. I'm like, yeah, those coins. It was a currency war. I'm not going to get into all that, but like, there are secular explanations that make way more sense if you know the historical context about these allegories and stories, where you don't literally have a dragon coming out of the sea, or the moon turning to blood, or all the crazy, or demons flying into pigs.
So, right.
It's like they ruined that religion by making it derp level retarded, where people believe in the, like, King James poetic version in a literal sense, which really does turn people off to the religion. If you have over double digit IQ, you're gonna look at that and go, I don't think so.
So Ryan, somebody asked a question here that I think is relevant. So, given that you have millions of evangelical Christians in America that believe this, and then you have these Jewish supremacists that believe this in the country, what can be done in America to address to handle these people, to challenge them and rid them of power?
That is the $6 million question. You've got religious fanatics, which you can't reason somebody out of something they weren't reasoned into. It's the same thing with the Salafists all over the Middle East. Like, I don't think Syria is fixable from not, like, it's broken. I don't think you can fix Libya either anymore. They've destroyed these places, and it's going to take many generations to get back to where they were, if ever. And yeah, these dispensationalist Christians in America, and it's like 33%. I mean, people that deny dinosaurs and stuff like that. What do you do with a horde of willfully ignorant and proud of it crowd? I mean, you can let the boomers die off. You can fight them. You can try to win the media war. I think, though, that it's kind of like, well, the examples you gave. Look at someone like Candace Owens or Tucker. They were in that kind of neoconish position. They saw enough dead children, and it woke them out of their stupor. And once they were able to look, they could see. There's a Leonardo da Vinci quote I love. He's talking about knowledge. He says there's three kinds of people. There are those who can see. There's those who can see when shown, and there are those who can't see even when shown. Those who can see when shown crowd is what we need to aim at. People that are not. You can't do anything about Christian evangels, but you can do something about the even larger group of fence sitters, the apathy of the herd who just don't know what's going on, but they don't like all these dead babies. And those are the ones you can reach and get them off the fence and say, listen, here's the group that's doing these things. And one way to reach a lot of people at once is through films, which is why I'm making my magnus opus film on 9/11, because I think when Americans learn the role of Jewish supremacist Zionists and Salafist Wahhabi Muslims, I'll put in quotes, that they worked in tandem to support Al-Qaeda attacking and killing Americans with complicity of people in the CIA who intentionally withheld information from the FBI. They made so many mistakes because it was intentional. When they realize this group killed Americans on 9/11, and then I think then that once they see that, they're open to know the truth about Iraq, the truth about both Kennedy assassinations and on down, then they can't support Israel. We've spent $7 trillion in wars for Israeli interests that are against American interests. It is not in U.S. interests, and not a petrodollar or any of that crap. They are fighting wars for Israel to their own detriment. That's what needs to be shown to the apathetic crowd. To the Christian evangels, the best thing you can do is pit them against Muslim evangels and hope they both waste their time running out of air.